What if the fiercest enemy you'll ever face isn't out there, but within? What if your greatest battle begins each morning, quietly, inside your own mind? And what if the ancient Stoics had already fought this war and left behind the wisdom? To win it, the greatest battle you'll ever fight isn't one fought with swords or enemies on the outside. No, it's the war raging inside you against the weaker, impulsive, fearful version of yourself. That undisciplined voice that craves comfort, avoids challenge, and whispers seductive lies in moments of doubt. This isn't just a daily struggle. It's a full-scale war, a war between who you are now and who you are meant to become. The Stoics knew this intimately. They called it the fight for self-mastery, the war against self-deception, and the art of conquering your own mind. Every single day, two versions of you rise from bed. One seeks ease, the other excellence. One hides behind excuses, the other rises to act. One is fragile, the other is fierce. And the choice of who wins, that choice is yours, not next week, not someday, today. If you don't slay the weak version of yourself, if you don't cut it down ruthlessly, it will chain you. It will anchor you in mediocrity. It will keep you small, scared, addicted to comfort, and trapped behind invisible bars built from fear, distraction, and delay. This is the Stoic path. You are not here to be ruled by emotions, temptations, or weakness. You are here to rise above them. And that journey? It's not for the faint-hearted. It demands you let go of self-pity, tear away the masks of self-deception, and reject the dangerous illusion that you still have time to waste. This is about forging a mind of steel, a spirit that doesn't break, and a character so disciplined, nothing can shake it. The Stoics believed true strength is not born from comfort, but from resistance. It is sculpted in hardship, built through discipline, and tested through relentless self-reflection. So, if you're ready to step onto this path, if you're ready to silence the excuses, if you're ready to kill that weak version of yourself, then let's begin. Chapter 1. The Death of Excuses. You've made the decision to kill the weak version of yourself. Now comes the discipline to follow through, especially when the easy path whispers your name. The easy path will always tempt you. It looks soft, welcoming, familiar, but you must reject it. Excuses are not harmless. They are illusions. Lies whispered by the weaker self to keep you numb, still, and safe inside your comfort zone. They come softly, with the voice of reason. You deserve rest, tomorrow's fine, or just this once. But don't be fooled. These are traps. Subtle, seductive traps that tell you mediocrity is acceptable, that it's okay to settle. And if you listen, if you follow them, you're not just making a choice, you're surrendering. You become a prisoner of your own weakness. Every excuse you make is a step backward. Every excuse is a new chain, tightening the grip of stagnation. And the more you indulge, the stronger those chains become, until they choke the ambition out of you completely. So how do you destroy this? You must develop a ruthless intolerance for excuses. No negotiations, no hesitations. Laziness, rejected. Doubt, crushed before it even forms. You don't argue with the part of you that wants comfort. You outpace it with action. The instant an excuse enters your mind, answer it with movement. If you hesitate, that's your signal. Act now, because strength is forged in those critical moments, when weakness knocks and you slam the door in its face. Train yourself to become a weapon against hesitation. The moment you hear, "I don't feel like it," drop and do 10 push-ups. Here, "I'll start later," and force yourself to begin right now. Every second of indecision tightens weakness's grip, so don't give it even one. Excuses are not passive. They are an enemy and must be treated like one. Action is your sword, and every decisive move cuts away at their power. The Stoics were not just philosophers, they were warriors of the mind. They understood that discipline isn't a mood or a feeling, it's a command, an order you give yourself that must be obeyed regardless of how you feel. A true Stoic doesn't ask, "Do I feel ready?" He acts because it's time to act. To kill excuses, you must design a system where action becomes your default. The moment hesitation creeps in, your body should already be moving. Don't wait for the perfect moment. It doesn't exist. The moment is now. The weak self delays. The strong self decides. When your alarm rings in the morning, you rise. No snooze, no negotiation. Because the first decision of your day, it sets the tone for every decision after. Each time you ignore that alarm and drift back into sleep, you are training yourself to hesitate in life, and hesitation is just the gateway to failure. So, how do we rewire this reflex? How do we train our minds to obey strength, not comfort? Let's explore it next. The battle begins the moment your alarm rings. Hesitate, and you train your mind to stall. Act, and you set the tone for strength. Every time you drift back into sleep after that first alarm, you're not just choosing rest, you're reinforcing procrastination. You're teaching your mind that delay is acceptable, that hesitation is safe. And over time, that lesson becomes habit. So when the alarm rings, sit up immediately. No negotiations, no mental bargaining. Don't let your mind whisper, just 5 more minutes. Act with urgency, because if you win the first battle of the day, you massively increase your chances of winning all the others. But don't stop there. Go further. Build a morning routine that throws you into motion from the very first minute. Make your bed as soon as you rise. Step onto the floor like a warrior entering battle. Do something physical, push-ups, stretches, even a cold shower. The moment your body starts moving, your mind falls in line. This isn't just about waking up. It's about rewiring your brain to respond to discipline instinctively. The way you wake up becomes the lens through which you approach the rest of your day. The strong version of you acts immediately. The weak one delays. So, who are you the moment the alarm goes off? Each morning, do one difficult thing, something that demands effort right away. Whether it's stepping into freezing water, diving into Stoic philosophy, or forcing your body through a series of push-ups, that single act is a powerful statement. It says, "I'm in control." It's not just a task. It's a ritual of dominance over your weaker self. It's a trial of willpower before the world even touches you. In the early hours, your mind naturally craves comfort, and that's exactly when you must confront it with discomfort. Make your first action deliberately hard. Cold showers train you to master your body's resistance. They teach you to step into fear, not away from it. Reading or writing philosophy in the morning tunes your thoughts toward reason and virtue, not emotion and impulse. An intense exercise, it jolts your system into motion, launching a surge of energy that can carry you through the entire day. The Stoics understood something profound. Victory doesn't happen in grand, dramatic moments. It's built slowly, in small, consistent choices. And the first win of the day happens the moment you choose to do what's hard instead of what's easy. Make this a daily choice. No matter how tired you are, no matter how much your weaker self begs for comfort, you do that one hard thing every morning. Teach your mind that your commands are absolute. That comfort does not rule you. And once that tone is set, your day will obey your lead. But victory isn't just about starting strong, it's about staying strong. So how do you carry this mindset into the chaos of the day? Let's talk about what comes next. You've learned to start your day with discipline, but how do you carry that mindset through the hours that follow, especially when excuses strike? Excuses will come again and again, and the only way to defeat them is to prepare for them in advance. You must identify the most common excuses your mind throws at you and design immediate automatic responses to shut them down. This is not about hoping you'll feel motivated. It's about having a system in place, one that doesn't rely on how you feel. Set non-negotiable rules for yourself. These are the backbone of your discipline. They are the unshakable foundation of your self-mastery, the internal code you live by, regardless of emotion, fatigue, or chaos around you. Make these rules specific and absolute. If you decide you work out 5 days a week, it happens. Tired, busy, unmotivated, doesn't matter. If you commit to reading philosophy daily, then distractions, mood swings, and mental noise are irrelevant. Treat your rules like law, as binding as any legal contract. Because once the rule is set, it must be followed, every single time. And make no mistake, your mind will rebel. It will whisper justifications telling you, just this once, take a break. But that is the voice of the weaker self, the part that senses your growth and wants to pull you back down. Don't let it win. When a rule is in place, it is not up for debate. Each time you obey your own law, you strengthen your identity. You become someone who does what they say, no matter what. And that consistency is the very root of inner strength. Adopt the mindset that excuses are lies, and your response to them should be swift, automatic, and aggressive. Whenever an excuse surfaces, treat it like an alarm bell, a signal that your weak self is trying to sneak in. Respond instantly. If your mind says, "I'll do it later," you say, "No, I do it now." If it says, "I don't have time," cut the noise and make time. If you feel tired, push forward anyway. This is how you build the habit of discipline. Instant execution. It's what separates those who act from those who drift. Start small if you have to, but be relentless. Every excuse you kill, every act of defiance against comfort, builds your strength, and over time, that strength becomes second nature. You stop being someone who waits. You become someone who moves. But to keep this momentum alive, you must understand something crucial. Discipline, not motivation, is what drives transformation. Let's step into Chapter 2, Discipline over Motivation. Excuses are eliminated through immediate action, but to sustain this over time, you need more than a burst of willpower. You need discipline. The weak self waits, hoping motivation will arrive like a spark from the sky, but the strong self, it doesn't wait. It moves. It acts. It operates on discipline, on structure, on a rock-solid routine built from effort, not emotion. The strong self is grounded in a mindset that says, "I do it regardless of how I feel." Seneca once said, "Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity." And preparation? That's not something that happens randomly. It is a byproduct of discipline. The disciplined person doesn't sit around waiting to feel inspired. He doesn't rely on a good mood or a perfect moment to take action. He acts because the task must be done, whether he's excited or bored, energized or drained. Because he knows one simple truth: emotions are fleeting, but consistency builds progress. When others pause looking for a sign or spark to get started, the disciplined person takes another step, one more action, one more win. And over time, those small wins add up into real momentum. Your weaker self will show up. It always does. It will whisper things like, "I'm not feeling it today." It will offer false comfort and fake logic. "You worked hard yesterday. You deserve a break." But your stronger self must rise in those moments, cut through the noise and say, "I don't care how I feel. I do it anyway." The world's highest performers, whether they are athletes, entrepreneurs, or philosophers, do not rely on motivation. They follow a code, a set of internal, non-negotiable standards, unbreakable behaviors that guide them even on their worst days. If an athlete only trained when they felt like it, they'd never reach the top. If a writer only wrote when they were inspired, they'd never finish the book. If a philosopher only practiced virtue when it was easy, they'd be no different from the average person. Discipline is a muscle, and like any muscle, it must be worked daily. It needs consistent reps, deliberate practice, and a relentless devotion to self-mastery. Skip a workout today, it becomes easier to skip the next. Procrastinate now. You strengthen a habit of avoidance, and that habit will grow stronger every time you feed it. The true enemy of growth is inconsistency. And the only antidote is building unshakable habits. You must develop rituals that turn action into instinct. Discipline should no longer be a decision you debate. It should become the default setting of your existence. When discipline stops being optional, when it becomes your identity, that's when real transformation begins. But what does this identity look like in action? Let's explore what it truly means to live as the disciplined man. When discipline becomes part of your identity, action is no longer a question, it's a way of life. The disciplined man doesn't stop to wonder if he feels like training. He doesn't pause to weigh whether he should read, work, or improve himself today. He just does it, because that's who he is. There's no mental debate, no hesitation, only decisive, consistent action. A warrior doesn't wait to feel ready before sharpening his blade. He trains every day, knowing that when the moment of truth arrives, preparation, not feelings, will determine his fate. He doesn't wake up asking, "Do I feel like it?" He rises and acts, because he knows something many forget. Readiness is an illusion. The strongest men throughout history didn't become powerful because they waited for ideal conditions. They became powerful because they acted, regardless of how they felt or what was happening around them. You must train your mind in the same way. Every time you take action without waiting for motivation, you're sending yourself a powerful message. I am in control. You're proving that your mind is your servant, not your master. That is how discipline is built. It begins with a single, small decision, to act when you don't feel like it. And over time, those decisions stack. They become habits. They become who you are. You go from someone who battles inconsistency to someone who embodies discipline, not occasionally, but always. Stop waiting for motivation. It's a trap, a crutch, a soft pillow for the weak to rest on while life passes them by. The weak wait. They sit idle, hoping inspiration will arrive, hoping life will feel just right before they begin. But the strong take action, and from that action, motivation is born. They understand a powerful truth. Movement breeds energy. Progress creates drive. Discipline forges you into something unstoppable. When you live this way, nothing can stand in your path. The world belongs to those who move relentlessly forward, not to those who wait for the perfect moment. So, set a non-negotiable daily routine. Fill it with what matters: reading, training, building, improving. And don't just set it, live it. Identify 3 areas in your life where discipline is weak. Then attack them relentlessly. The moment your mind says, "I don't feel like it," let that become your cue to act immediately. Understand this. Hesitation is not harmless. It is the whisper of weakness. A gentle, deceptive voice that invites you to stay stagnant, to stay small. Every time you hesitate, every second you entertain the thought of delay, you are giving power to that weaker version of yourself, the part that craves comfort over growth. So, don't back down. Instead, treat reluctance as a signal to rise. Because on the other side of hesitation lies momentum, and it's that momentum that will uncover next. When hesitation creeps in, don't retreat. Use it as your trigger to take immediate action. The next time your mind says, "Not now," don't pause. Turn it into fuel. If the thought arises to postpone something, that's your signal to double down. If your mind whispers, "Skip the workout today," stand up. Move now. If it says, "You can read later," grab the book and start reading. Hesitation isn't a warning, it's a compass. It points directly to what needs to be done. So whenever resistance shows up, meet it with greater intensity. Train yourself to respond not with delay, but with urgency. The more you practice this, the more natural it becomes. your brain begins to associate hesitation with action, resistance with immediate movement. You start rewiring yourself from the inside out. Over time, this becomes a reflex. The moment you feel the tug to procrastinate, you act. That is the true essence of self-discipline. The ability to move forward no matter what your mind is saying. The weak version of you wants to wait. It stalls, rationalizes, avoids. But the strong version acts immediately. It never negotiates with weakness. Chapter 3. Hardship is your ally. Weak men run from discomfort. They avoid struggle. They chase ease, pleasure, and the path of least resistance. But in doing so, they grow weaker, not stronger. Strong men, they embrace discomfort because they understand this truth. Growth only happens through challenge. The Stoics saw hardship not as a curse, but as a teacher. They didn't wait for life to test them. They deliberately put themselves through difficulty to sharpen their minds and spirits. They didn't seek comfort. They sought fortitude. Epictetus once said, "Difficulties are things that show a person what they are." And he was right. Hardship is a forge. It's the fire that strengthens your will, the pressure that shapes your character. If you never face resistance, you never truly grow. If you keep avoiding discomfort, you become fragile, unprepared for life's inevitable storms. The strongest individuals didn't have an easy journey. They were shaped by pain, carved by pressure, and made powerful through persistence. They were hardened by their suffering, not broken. Every hardship is a test, an invitation to forge the unshakable spirit of a warrior. The weak self avoids pain. It searches for shortcuts, loopholes, easy ways out. It convinces you that struggle is pointless. That comfort is the ultimate goal. But the strong self, it sees pain for what it truly is, transformation. Adversity is not a curse, it's a gift, a tool to be used, not something to run from. Each moment of struggle is a chance to grow stronger, more focused, more resilient. Each hardship faced head-on becomes a stepping stone to the greater version of yourself. Pain is inevitable, but suffering? That's a choice. The weak self lets pain define it. It lets pain shatter its resolve and justify inaction. But the strong self, it uses pain as a sharpening stone. When the body aches from discipline, the strong self knows this is growth. So how do you build this unbreakable mindset? One that doesn't fear struggle, but welcomes it. Let's break it down next. When pain becomes your sharpening stone, every hardship transforms from an obstacle into an opportunity for strength. When your mind is tested, truly tested by hardship, something powerful happens. It begins to wake up. It begins to understand. Because wisdom isn't born from comfort, it's forged in fire. Every challenge you face becomes a mirror, revealing who you really are underneath the noise, the masks, the comfort. The question is simple. Will you face it or will you run? The great Stoics didn't just endure suffering, they welcomed it. They believed that to stand strong in the face of life's chaos, you must train your mind to embrace discomfort, not retreat from it. Marcus Aurelius never wished for an easier life. He wished to become stronger. Seneca practiced voluntary hardship, sleeping on hard beds, fasting, walking barefoot, not because he had to, but because he wanted to prepare himself. So when misfortune came, it couldn't shake him. This is the mindset you must adopt. Don't view hardship as a setback. See it as a necessary stage of your personal evolution. True resilience is not built when everything is easy. It's built in the fire. In those painful, gritty moments when you want to quit, but choose instead to press on. The difference between the weak and the strong isn't talent. It's not luck. It's not intelligence. It's the ability to suffer. Well, the strong man doesn't break under pressure. He welcomes it. He sees pain as preparation. Every ounce of discomfort is sharpening him for the greater battles still to come. Weakness is burned away through discipline, through deliberate challenge, through the relentless pursuit of becoming more. Every hardship you conquer adds another layer to your armor. Every struggle you overcome is proof that you can withstand and that you can rise. Hardship reveals the truth. When life applies pressure, what happens? Do you fold, or do you fortify? Do you let your circumstances define you, or do you rise and define yourself? The harsh truth is this: life doesn't care. It doesn't care if you're tired, unmotivated, or afraid. It will test you, suddenly, brutally, and without warning. And the only way to meet those moments is to train now, by choosing struggle before it chooses you. The strong self doesn't get caught off guard. It's already prepared, it expects hardship, and when it arrives, it does not flinch. But your weak self, it will beg you to stop. It will whisper soft lies. You've done enough. You deserve a break. This isn't worth the pain. You must silence that voice with action. The moment you hear an excuse forming, confront it. When your body says, it's too hard, prove it wrong. Lean into the pain. Push deeper into the challenge, because that's where the unbreakable mind is forged. And once you've made hardship your ally, what's next? Now, it's time to build the habits that anchor your strength. Let's dive in. Once you begin to embrace struggle as your teacher, you stop breaking under pressure and start becoming unbreakable. Lean into resistance, not because it's easy, but because it's the only way you'll ever become more than you are right now. The man who seeks comfort as his primary goal will never touch greatness. But the man who seeks struggle, he will discover a deep reservoir of strength within himself, a kind of power he never knew existed. Growth doesn't happen in silence or stillness. It happens in the friction, the space between who you are and who you're trying to become. Avoid that friction, and you'll remain the same. Embrace it, and you'll evolve. You'll grow sharper, stronger, more resilient, not despite the pain, but because of it. Greatness is not built by dodging discomfort. It's earned by pushing through it battle after battle and emerging on the other side, tested, refined, unshaken. So stand tall, face adversity without flinching. Let every hardship become your personal trainer. Let the pain sculpt you, because the fire that burns away your weaker parts is the same fire that reveals your indestructible core. Stop seeing difficulty as something to avoid. Start seeing it for what it really is, a refining process. The path to your strongest self runs straight, through adversity, not around it, through it. And if you can endure it, if you commit to facing it head-on, you will become unstoppable. Chapter 4. Mastering your emotions. Weak men are slaves to their emotions. They are ruled by anger, fear, anxiety, swept away by every emotional wave. Their moods dictate their actions like a ship tossed around by the storm. They live in a constant state of emotional chaos, reacting, lashing out, retreating. They hand over their power to external events without even realizing it. Instead of mastering their emotions, they become victims of them, prisoners to every passing feeling that tugs them in a different direction. Without self-control, they are left weak. They can't trust their own decisions. They're forever at the mercy of circumstance. But the strong man, he rules over his emotions with iron discipline. He doesn't deny them or pretend they don't exist. He doesn't suppress them. Instead, he observes them, understands them, and chooses to respond with reason, not impulse. He knows emotions are natural, but he also knows they are not meant to lead, because left unchecked, emotions can cloud your judgment. They lead to impulsive decisions, destructive words, and long-lasting regret. A moment of uncontrolled anger can erase years of earned respect. A choice made in fear can lock a man in a prison of hesitation for decades. A mind ruled by anxiety will never move with clarity or confidence. The strong man doesn't let emotion knock him off course. He doesn't let his mind be hijacked by the storm he feels But he doesn't follow. He acknowledges emotion, evaluates it, and makes choices based on principle, not panic. So how exactly does the strong man gain this control? How do you rule your emotions without becoming cold or disconnected? We'll break that down next. 2. Master your emotions. You must first learn to pause, because the moment you let emotion lead, you've already surrendered control. The strong man does not act on impulse. He trains himself to remain calm in chaos, knowing that true power begins with mastering himself, long before trying to influence anything outside of him. Because the instant you allow emotions to dictate your behavior, you've lost control. You've handed over your power. The weak self reacts without thought, without pause. It speaks words that later bring regret. It makes decisions that leave lasting scars. It allows fleeting feelings to carve out permanent consequences. Frustration turns into aggression. Fear morphs into paralysis. Sadness spirals into self-pity. But the strong self, he takes a breath. He reflects. And then he acts with purpose. He is not a servant to his emotions. He is their master. He stands unmoved in storms that would shatter weaker men. He remains composed while others unravel. When the tides of emotion rise, he doesn't drown. He navigates. Understand this. Strength is not the absence of emotion. It's the ability to feel fully and still choose wisely. Emotions are messengers, not masters. Signals, not orders. The strong man listens to them. He takes the lesson, but refuses to be led blindly. He allows emotion to inform his choices, but never to rule them. He studies his inner world the way a general studies the battlefield. He learns his emotional patterns. He observes the rise of his impulses, the voice of his fears, the distractions that try to seduce his focus. When anger stirs, he asks, "Is this justified? Is this useful? Will this serve my greater purpose?" If the answer is no, he does not act. He redirects that fire into discipline. When fear tries to take hold, he faces it head on. He demands evidence. Because he knows most fear is an illusion, a shadow that shrinks when you shine reason on it. And when anxiety starts to whisper doubt, he doesn't collapse. He questions it. He investigates. If the fear is real, he finds a solution. If it's baseless, he throws it away. The weak man lets emotions spin him in circles. He chases impulses, loses focus, and drifts further from who he could become. He is not the driver of his life. He is the passenger. But the strong man, he knows one thing with clarity. His mind is the only thing he truly owns, and he refuses to let it be ruled by anything fleeting or fragile. So he trains. He learns to recognize emotional triggers, and he meets them not with weakness, but with wisdom. He becomes like a well-trained warrior in battle, calm, aware, and always in control. So what does it take to develop this calm presence in the face of chaos? That's exactly where we're headed next. Like a mountain standing firm in the storm, the disciplined man remains calm, because he rules his emotions before they can ever rule him. Be like the mountain, immovable, unshaken, even as the storms of life rage around you. Control your emotions, or they will control you. Master your mind, or the world will master it for you. At every moment, you are either in command of your thoughts or a prisoner to them. There is no neutral ground, so choose wisely. Choose strength, choose mastery. Become the unshakable force you were meant to be. When anger arises, don't let it explode. Train yourself, pause, breathe deeply. 3 full breaths before you speak. 3 breaths before you act. Let your logic return before your next move. The space between feeling and action is where your power lies. Chapter 5. Self-respect through self-discipline. The weak self constantly begs for validation. It reaches outward, searching for approval, applause, and recognition. It clings to compliments, fears criticism, and confuses attention with worth. But this is a trap. The more you chase approval from others, the more dependent you become on things you cannot control. The strong self is different. It builds self-respect through quiet, consistent discipline. It forges an identity rooted in action, not applause. A man who respects himself doesn't ask the world for approval. He builds a fortress within himself, one that no opinion can shake. His value doesn't come from likes, comments, or recognition. It comes from what he does, how he shows up, how he moves, how he lives. He knows external validation is fleeting, temporary, often empty. What truly matters is his integrity, his discipline, his relentless pursuit of excellence. The strong man is not tossed by public opinion. He doesn't rise and fall with praise or criticism. He walks his own path with purpose, like a mountain, firm, focused, and unmoved by passing winds. Seneca once said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." The weak self wastes time chasing distractions, comfort, and approval. It scrolls endlessly through social media, comparing itself to others, feeling inadequate, and begging for attention. It numbs itself with shallow entertainment rather than investing in its own evolution. But the strong self? It sees through the illusion. It knows that a man who spends his time chasing approval is a man who isn't in control of his life. So, instead of wasting time, he invests it. He sharpens his mind, he strengthens his body, he builds his character day by day, decision by decision. He understands that every minute spent worrying about how others see him is a minute stolen from his growth. The strong self does what needs to be done, especially when no one is watching, because true self-respect isn't found in applause. It's found in who you become when the spotlight is gone, when you stop chasing validation and start building yourself with purpose. Your very presence becomes enough. The disciplined man does not chase recognition. He doesn't beg to be seen. Instead, he builds himself, brick by brick, into someone truly worthy of respect. Through relentless effort, through unbreakable discipline. He doesn't need approval because he commands respect through results. He doesn't seek attention. He earns admiration through dedication and consistency. The weak self craves the spotlight. It wants to be noticed. It aches for affirmation, applause, and compliments. But the strong self? It wants to be capable. It seeks mastery, not praise. It values competence over compliments. The weak man wants to be liked. The strong man wants to be effective. The weak man molds himself to fit in. The strong man stands firm, rooted in principle, no matter the consequences. A man who truly respects himself knows the truth. Chasing external approval is a bottomless pit. It will never be enough. There will always be someone new to impress, another audience to please, another opinion to chase. But the strong man realizes something freeing. His purpose is not to be liked by everyone. His mission is to be true to himself. He doesn't need permission to live with discipline, conviction, and truth. He doesn't bend his character for fleeting validation. Instead, he builds himself into a force so solid, so sharp, that he commands respect without ever asking for it. Build yourself into someone whose self-respect is unshakable, and you'll never again feel the need to seek approval from anyone but yourself. When you live by this principle, you free yourself from the chains of external judgment. You become a man who no longer needs to prove his worth because his actions speak louder than any words. The strong man's value is self-generated. He does not rely on the outside world to confirm his worth. He walks his path with steady confidence, knowing that strength, virtue, and discipline are rewards in themselves. A true man of discipline understands his worth is defined by his actions, his ability to follow through, to stay committed, to rise again and again in the face of resistance. He does not wait for praise. He proves himself to himself every single day through his work, through his focus, through his relentless pursuit of excellence. Respect is not given to those who demand it. It is given to those who embody it. And the strong man, he doesn't speak of his strength. He demonstrates it. But strength alone isn't enough. You must know how to direct it. That's where clarity of purpose comes in. Let's continue. True strength is not declared. It's lived. It's revealed in quiet, disciplined choices that need no audience. The strong man never demands respect. He earns it through action, not argument. He doesn't waste his time trying to convince others of his worth. Instead, he builds a life that makes it impossible to ignore. Real self-respect doesn't come from what others say about you. It comes from knowing that you hold yourself to a higher standard, one that no one else could ever impose on you. It's born from the goals you set and the discipline you apply to reach them. It's forged in those quiet, unseen moments when you choose to push through, even when quitting would be easier. It's choosing your values when no one is watching, choosing discipline over distraction, choosing effort over ease. Build yourself into a man whose self-respect runs so deep the opinions of others become irrelevant. Stand firm in who you are, because when you do, you no longer chase approval. You attract respect, not because you ask for it, but because you embody it. But this life, this level of discipline requires removing the things that weaken you. Cut the distractions. Let go of the noise that softens your focus and dulls your edge. Social media that feeds comparison, mindless entertainment that robs your time, junk food that steals your energy. In their place, develop the habits that build you. Read daily to sharpen your mind. Exercise to strengthen your body. Eat with intention to honor your health. Work deeply to build something of real value, because discipline is a lifestyle, not a mood. And when your days are built on structure, you'll no longer need validation. Your confidence will come from what you live, not what others think. Chapter 6. The art of endurance. A man who cannot endure hardship will never rise above mediocrity. The weak quit when life gets hard. They whine, they blame, they run. But the strong man, he endures. He understands that pain is part of the process. He doesn't seek comfort, because he knows that every achievement worth having is built on struggle, on perseverance, on relentless effort. He doesn't flee from difficulty. He meets it head on, because deep down, he knows it is suffering that refines him. The Stoics held endurance as a central virtue. Epictetus said, "Don't hope that events will turn out the way you want. Welcome them as they are." That is the path to peace. But don't mistake this for passive acceptance. This is active strength. A mindset that sees hardship not as a punishment, but as a challenge to be welcomed. The ability to endure without complaint. That is what separates the weak from the strong. A man who refuses to break under pressure develops a mind of steel. He doesn't collapse under difficulty. He thrives within it. Every obstacle becomes a lesson. Every setback, a proving ground. Endurance isn't just about surviving. It's about rising, growing, and becoming sharper through struggle. The man who endures doesn't just hold on. He adapts. He learns. He transforms. He becomes unshakable. So how exactly do you train this mindset, this art of enduring when most would fold? That's what we'll break down next. Endurance is more than just surviving. It's the mindset of choosing pressure, choosing pain, and choosing to keep moving forward when others fall behind. In the face of hardship, the strong man stands firm, relentless, in the pursuit of his purpose. He does not see pain as suffering. He sees it as a necessary toll, the price you must pay to walk the path toward mastery. While others collapse under the weight of pressure, he rises, using every challenge as a stepping stone to something greater. When the weak man complains, the strong man acts. When the weak man hides from pain, the strong man embraces it. When the weak man chases comfort, the strong man chooses the harder road, because he knows that hardship shapes him. Through difficulty, he forges himself into someone who cannot be broken easily, who cannot be shaken, and who cannot be stopped. This kind of endurance isn't random, it's built. It's built through discipline, through deliberate struggle, through patience that doesn't flinch when progress is slow. His body may grow tired, his muscles may ache, but his spirit never wavers. The road may be long, but he never doubts where he's going, because he's trained to endure. And in enduring, he prevails. Seek out discomfort daily. Push your physical and mental limits. Train your mind to crave challenge, to lean into the struggle that forces you to evolve. Do the things that make you uncomfortable. Pick up the skill that intimidates you. Tackle the work you've been avoiding, because the weak self runs from discomfort, but the strong self seeks it out, because it knows that growth lives in discomfort and mastery is forged in resistance. Make it your mission to stretch yourself beyond what you think is possible. Push against the edge of your limits and watch those limits expand. Growth happens not when you're safe, but when you're tested. Train yourself to stay calm under pressure, to observe, to adapt, to persist when the world around you is chaotic. Because in chaos, one thing will determine your outcome: composure. Weak men panic. They act on emotion. They react without thinking. Strong men stay steady. They think. They assess. They act with logic, not fear. And the more pressure you face, the more chances you have to strengthen your mind. Mental toughness isn't gifted. It's trained. So put yourself in controlled discomfort. Situations that test your patience, that test your clarity under stress. Step into the fire and practice staying calm. When adversity strikes, remind yourself, composure is a choice. While others unravel, you remain unmoved. You hold the line, because true strength is found in stillness. In the quiet power of a man who can regulate his emotions while storms rage around him. And those who master this, they earn respect, not by force but by presence. They move with certainty, with purpose, and nothing shakes them. So how do you sharpen this mental edge day after day, until stillness becomes your instinct? Let's dive into the next part. In the chaos of life, stillness becomes your anchor, and solitude is where that stillness is forged. Chapter 7. The Power of Solitude. Weak men fear being alone. They run from silence as if it might swallow them. They constantly seek distraction, scrolling, swiping, watching, talking. They fill every quiet moment with noise, not realizing that they're avoiding the one thing that could actually change them, themselves. They avoid solitude because it forces them to confront what they've been running from: their weaknesses, their doubts, their unresolved fears. They seek entertainment, shallow conversation, and validation from others to avoid the discomfort of deep self-reflection. But what they don't see is this: by avoiding solitude, they are also avoiding growth. The strong man, he welcomes solitude. He understands that clarity, wisdom, and self-mastery are not found in noise. They are born in silence. He doesn't run from his thoughts. He engages with them. He doesn't fear the stillness. He welcomes it, because he knows that in those quiet moments, he can dissect his weaknesses, confront his inner fears, and refine his purpose. Seneca wrote, "Nothing, to my way of thinking, is a better proof of a well-ordered mind than a man's ability to stop just where he is and pass some time in his own company, to sit alone in stillness, to be at peace in your own presence. That is not weakness. That is a sign of deep inner strength. It is in solitude that a man sharpens his mind, that he fortifies his will, that he builds discipline from the inside out. Because when all distractions are stripped away, only one thing remains: the truth, and that truth reveals who you really are. Solitude becomes a confrontation with yourself, a mirror that reflects not just your strengths, but your flaws, your patterns, your blind spots. And without that reflection, a man can never truly know himself. And if you don't know yourself, you can't master yourself. To master solitude is to master the mind. It is in these moments that a man gains perspective, that he aligns with purpose, that he sets intentions with precision and focus. Solitude offers a kind of clarity that noise will never provide. It is the proving ground of self-sufficiency, where you learn to stand without needing applause, reassurance, or praise, because a man who cannot be alone is a man who has not yet built a self he wants to be alone with. But the man who can sit in silence, comfortable in his own company, that man has laid an unbreakable foundation. He knows who he is. He knows what he stands for, and he knows exactly where he's going. He does not need noise to feel worthy. He does not need attention to feel alive. His strength comes from within, and because it is rooted there, no judgment, no rejection, no opinion from the outside world can shake him. He is complete, even in silence. And from this silence, this inner clarity, comes the next crucial step. Building a purpose so powerful, it becomes your compass through every storm. Let's continue. Once a man becomes comfortable in his own silence, he no longer seeks noise to feel alive because he carries clarity within. He does not chase external validation, nor is he swayed by the ever-shifting opinions of the world. Instead, he moves through life with certainty, unshaken by trends, untouched by distractions. He is a fortress unto himself, stable, resolute, unyielding. He walks his path with quiet purpose, knowing that true power doesn't come from applause. It comes from unwavering discipline, from the strength to stand alone and stay aligned with his mission. The man who rules his solitude rules his life. He commands his mind. He directs his emotions. He owns his purpose. He doesn't see solitude as emptiness. He sees it as opportunity, a chance to sharpen his focus, to refine his mission, to mold himself deliberately into the highest version of who he can become. This is the ultimate strength, to be content in your own company, to need nothing from others, but to offer everything to the world. From a place of inner abundance, a weak man seeks validation. A strong man builds himself into a force that needs none, because solitude is where a man builds his kingdom. It's where he strategizes, where he steels himself against weakness, where he becomes the master of his fate. It is in silence that a man learns to listen, to hear his deepest thoughts, to separate fleeting emotions from authentic desire, to find clarity in life's constant noise. A man who cannot be alone is a man who does not truly know himself, and a man who does not know himself is lost. If you want to be unbreakable, learn to be alone. If you want to be strong, seek silence. If you want to lead your own life, embrace solitude, not as loneliness, but as the ultimate tool of self-creation. Greatness is not forged in the noise of the world. It is sculpted in the quiet determination of a man who dares to stand alone and build himself into something unstoppable. Set aside time each day for stillness. Quiet reflection is not a luxury, it's a necessity. Learn to enjoy your own company rather than running to distractions. Meditate on your goals. Sit with your purpose. Let the silence shape you. Because once you've mastered solitude, the next challenge awaits, controlling the chaos of the mind. Let's begin. Once you've built stillness through solitude, the next step is learning to master what fills that silence, your mind. The strong man does not drift through life, reacting to every emotion or external pressure. Instead, he builds a fortress within, a mind that remains calm and steady, no matter the turbulence outside. Mastering your mind means removing unnecessary worry. It means silencing self-doubt, confronting overthinking, and cultivating an inner stillness that cannot be disturbed by noise or negativity. It means understanding a critical truth. Your thoughts are tools, They are not your master. Just as a warrior sharpens his blade, the disciplined man sharpens his mind. He trains himself to think logically, not emotionally, to observe without judgment, to assess challenges with clarity, and to focus only on what he can control. This mindset is what gives him his edge. It allows him to move with confidence, unshaken by the distractions and chaos that consume others. Because here's the truth: a man who cannot control his thoughts will forever be controlled by the world. The strong man knows how to filter the noise. He knows how to tune out useless opinions, ignore destructive thoughts, and stay locked in on his purpose. This is what separates the strong from the weak. A weak man's mind is a battlefield full of anxiety, regret, overthinking. He replays past mistakes like a broken record. He obsesses over the future, imagining worst-case scenarios that paralyze him. His emotions dictate his actions, making him impulsive, erratic, and easily manipulated. But the strong man? He refuses to be consumed. He sees his thoughts for what they are, passing waves. He acknowledges them, but he doesn't let them take the wheel. He stays anchored. He takes ownership of his inner world. He chooses which thoughts serve him and discards the rest. Over time, he builds a mind that is focused, disciplined, and unshakable. Because a disciplined mind is a powerful mind, and a powerful mind becomes an unbreakable force. The weak man lets his thoughts wander aimlessly, chasing impulses, feeding anxieties, reacting to every distraction. He drifts, he waits, he spirals, but the strong man, he moves with intention. He directs his thoughts like a laser, channeling them with precision toward what matters. He uses his mind as a weapon to build, create, and dominate, because he knows something most never learn. Every great achievement begins in the mind. Before a single result appears in the physical world, it is first shaped and conquered within. Mental discipline is not optional. It is essential for anyone who wants to rise above mediocrity. Without it, you're just another puppet controlled by emotion, circumstance, and noise. So how do you train this kind of mental control? How do you become the master of your inner world instead of its prisoner? Let's go deeper. Once you learn to direct your mind with purpose, you stop reacting to life and start shaping it. When your mind is disciplined, you are in full command of your destiny, no longer reactive, no longer waiting. You move with intent. You shape your life by design, not by default, because the mind is either your greatest ally or your greatest enemy. If left untrained, it will sabotage you. It will flood you with doubt, with fear, with excuses. It will whisper every reason not to act, not to try, not to grow. But if disciplined, if sharpened and directed, the mind becomes a weapon, a force, capable of cutting through distraction, resistance, and fear. A tool that turns struggle into strength and vision into victory. Mastering the mind begins with one truth: your thoughts do not define you. Your actions do. Weak men let their emotions lead them. They seek comfort. They reach for aid. They avoid anything that feels hard, uncomfortable, or uncertain. But the strong man, he embraces struggle as the price of greatness. He knows the mind is like a muscle. If not worked daily, it weakens. So he trains. He eliminates distractions. He focuses his energy, and he refuses to let negative thinking make decisions for him. He knows that every moment of discipline is a step closer to self-mastery. Every moment of focus strengthens his grip on his future, because the path to greatness isn't just built in the gym or in business. It's built on the internal battlefield, where the real wars are fought, not outside, but within. Every day, the battle begins. The temptation to quit, the lure of easy pleasure, the whispers of self-doubt, and every day you must choose discipline over indulgence, control over chaos, action over hesitation. The man who wins that internal war day after day will win in every area of life, because he is no longer a slave to his mind. He has become its master. Strengthen your mind, and no force, no failure, no rejection, no challenge can shake you. So train it. Practice mindfulness. Learn to observe your thoughts without becoming lost in them. Interrupt negative patterns with reminders of who you are. Disciplined, focused, unbreakable. Remind yourself that mental strength is built, not born. Chapter 9. The warrior's mentality. If a man wants to conquer his weaknesses, he must adopt the mentality of a warrior. Life is a battlefield, and only those prepared mentally, physically, and spiritually will thrive. Weak men shrink in the face of conflict. They run from hardship. They fear struggle. They allow obstacles to define them, to contain them, to control them. But the strong man, he welcomes the fight because he knows that every challenge is not a threat. It's a test. And in that test, he forges something greater. Let's continue. Once you choose to think like a warrior, life's battles no longer intimidate you, they prepare you. The warrior's mindset is unwavering. It doesn't shake in the face of fear. It doesn't fold under pressure. It is always ready to meet the challenge, to confront the hardship, to rise again. A true warrior doesn't complain about his circumstances. He doesn't look for excuses or sympathy. He adapts. He overcomes. He keeps moving forward, no matter the terrain. He sees pain as training. He sees adversity as a sharpening stone. He understands that comfort is the enemy of growth, so he deliberately places himself in situations that test his will, stretch his patience, and expand his endurance. While others retreat, the warrior stands his ground. While others hesitate, he takes action. He is not reckless. He is relentless. He doesn't chase ease because he knows an easy path creates a weakened spirit. Instead, he chooses struggle, not out of recklessness, but because he knows that discomfort is the crucible in which greatness is forged. To think like a warrior is to remove the option of retreat. The weak man sees failure as a dead end, a sign he's not meant to succeed. He lets setbacks break his confidence and gives into the lie that quitting is justified. But the warrior? He sees failure as feedback. Every loss is a lesson. Every setback is a chance to refine, to grow, to sharpen. He doesn't waste time feeling sorry for himself because he knows the real battle isn't out there. It's in here, with his own doubt, his own hesitation, his own desire for comfort. And he does not fear that battle, because he has already won the war in his mind. His will is stronger than any obstacle. His discipline is unshakable. His resolve is absolute. He knows struggle is the price of greatness, and he pays that price willingly every single day. The warrior knows that victory is never given. It's earned through sweat, through sacrifice, through an unrelenting mindset. He doesn't wait for the perfect time. He creates the perfect time through effort and focus. He doesn't dream about success. He builds it, brick by brick, rep by rep, battle by battle. He doesn't simply want to be strong. He works until strength becomes his default setting. He doesn't pray for easier storms. He prays for the fortitude to walk through them. He doesn't beg for luck. He relies on his discipline, his endurance, and his refusal to break. The warrior's mentality isn't about always winning. It's about becoming someone who cannot be defeated. Because true victory is not one moment. It's the daily commitment to rise again after every fall. He understands that strength is not inherited. It is forged through discipline, through hardship, and through choice. So, what fuels this warrior's fire? What sustains him when the world pushes back? Let's explore the source of that inner power next. The warrior doesn't just rise, he endures, adapts, and transforms, using every failure as fuel for mastery. To the warrior, failure is not defeat. It's just another stepping stone on the path to his ultimate goal, total mastery over himself, his choices, and his life. He doesn't flinch when adversity appears. He doesn't pull back when pressure mounts. He welcomes the challenge because he understands every obstacle is a test, and every test is an invitation to become something greater. When others retreat, he moves forward. When others make excuses, he takes action. Where most men crumble, the warrior finds strength. He thrives under pressure, not by chance, but because he has trained for it. He has conditioned himself to find comfort in discomfort. He doesn't chase ease, he chases transformation. He knows every hardship he survives makes him more capable of enduring the next. Pain becomes his teacher, discomfort becomes his ally. Discipline becomes his shield. The warrior is the one who keeps fighting long after others have quit. He's the one who still stands when life tries to crush him. He refuses to kneel before hardship. He does not break. He rises again and again. His greatest weapon is not his strength, not his tactics, not even his skill. His greatest weapon is his refusal to be broken. It's his resilience, his relentless mindset, his certainty that no matter what comes, he will endure. He will adapt. He will overcome. He doesn't merely survive, he conquers. The warrior never asks for an easier life. He asks for the strength to walk the hardest path and come out victorious. He knows that true strength is forged through both body and mind. So he trains them both, because physical strength reinforces mental toughness. And a strong body sharpens a sharp mind. He sees obstacles not as setbacks, but as opportunities to train, to sharpen his discipline, to test his limits, to build his resolve. He cultivates a mindset that doesn't just survive under pressure, it thrives. A mindset that welcomes difficulty as the path to growth. Chapter 10. The Legacy of Strength. A man's legacy is not written in moments of ease. It's written in the trials he overcomes, in the pain he endures, in the values he defends, in the strength he demonstrates when everything is against him. Because in the end, it's not about what you achieve for yourself. It's about the impact you leave behind. Let's explore what that legacy truly means. The warrior's strength echoes long after the battle ends, because true power lies in the legacy he leaves behind. Many live unaware of the power they hold over their destiny. They let time slip quietly through their fingers, mistaking comfort for fulfillment and idleness for peace. They cling to the illusion that there will always be more time, more chances, more tomorrows. But time is the one thing you can't reclaim once it's lost. The weak squander it, the strong harness it. Because the man who chooses a life of discipline, virtue, and purpose, he leaves behind something far greater than possessions. He leaves a legacy. He is not distracted by trivial pursuits or empty pleasures. He does not waste his energy chasing praise or applause. He is not obsessed with validation from the crowd. He is obsessed with mastery. He does not chase pleasure. He pursues excellence. His ambition is not driven by external approval. It is fueled by a relentless fire within. A deep desire to push beyond what is expected, to squeeze the most out of his potential while he still draws breath. He doesn't live to impress the world. He lives to become the man he was meant to be. He isn't focused on short-term gratification. He's focused on building something far more powerful, a legacy carved in discipline, character, and contribution. He knows that legacy isn't about wealth. It's not about fame. It's not about status. It's about the impact of a life well lived. Every choice, every hardship, every act of discipline etches his name into the fabric of time, and when he's gone, his presence is still felt. What? The lives he touched, in the lessons he taught, in the example he set. His influence outlives him, shaping those who come after, strengthening those who remember, and when the end comes, he does not fear it, he does not regret it, because he knows he lived fully. He gave everything, he held nothing back. He didn't reach the end wondering what if. He reached it declaring, "I did." His name isn't simply remembered, it's revered, because he didn't live as a spectator. He lived as a force of nature, disciplined, purpose-driven, unbreakable, and a man like that. He doesn't need to chase immortality. His legacy ensures he never truly dies. He is proof that greatness is not inherited. It is built, brick by brick, battle by battle, through a lifetime of relentless effort and unwavering integrity. So strive to be someone worth remembering. Lead by example, and become a beacon of strength and discipline for those who follow, because the way you live will echo far beyond your lifetime. Let's bring it all together now. Your path, your power, your purpose. A legacy is not built in someday. It's built today, in every choice, every action, every moment you refuse to waste. Look around you. Time is passing. The world moves forward whether you're ready or not. And every day that slips through your fingers is a day you'll never get back. So don't waste a single one. Treat each moment as a chance to sharpen yourself, to train your mind, strengthen your body, and fortify your character. Because the path of the strong man is not easy. It demands discipline, sacrifice, and relentless effort. It requires you to say no when it's tempting to say yes. It demands consistency when comfort begs you to stop. But in return, you earn something priceless, a life built on unshakable strength, deep self-respect, and complete self-mastery. You were not put here to be ruled by weakness. You were not born to live at the mercy of your impulses, distractions, or fears. You are here to dominate them. You're here to kill the weak version of yourself, the version that hesitates, that delays, that hides, and in its place, to forge the strongest version of who you were always meant to become. That version of you is not built tomorrow. He is built now. So don't wait. Don't hesitate. Don't wait for a better time, a perfect mood, or outside permission. Take action right now. Step forward with purpose. Step into the fire and become the man you were destined to be. This is your life, your war, your legacy. Forge it with discipline, live it with purpose, and leave no strength untested.